Welcome to Scrappy to Scalable, the podcast where we explore human-centered AI designed to level the playing field, empowering small and mid-sized businesses to compete with the giants. Welcome, everybody. My name is Felipe Crook. I am the co-founder of Caldor Dynamics. We're a company that implements AI and automation into small businesses with a human-centered focus. And today we are talking about getting AI right before it gets away with us. And I'm really excited about our guest. Her name is Nikki Mehrpoo, a globally recognized leader in AI governance and responsible AI. Her career began in the courtroom where she served as a litigator, judge, and educator, gaining firsthand insight into accountability when the stakes are highest. Now, Nikki is leading a worldwide movement to ensure we govern AI before it governs us. She designed the EEE AI Governance Protocol, a framework that helps leaders and professionals use AI responsibly while protecting their licenses, livelihoods, reputations, and the people they serve. She's also the driving force behind the AI plus HI movement, which asserts that human intelligence must always stay in the driver's seat. Nikki, I am so excited to chat with you. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for having me. This is exciting to be here today.
I'm going to jump right in because I think this is going to be really, really critical moving forward with the AI. There's going to be so much regulation that's going to come eventually. So I want to talk about all the people that are thinking about implementing AI or are currently implementing and using AI. If we get AI governance wrong in the next 24 months, what breaks first? The people, profits, or public trust?
I'm going to start that one off with the concept of just because we have a shiny new toy in the room, it doesn't change the rules. Just because AI is there, just like another tool we've had all these years. We've had MRI machines. We've had court stenographers with machines. We've had machines. And all of a sudden, this new technology has come into the room and people have just sitting there dumbfounded, what do we do with it? You govern it. You do the same thing you did. You're duty bound, especially us as professionals. We're duty bound. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Our license is on the line. And just the same way we govern the internet and all the other technology behind it, before it, we need to govern AI. But I'm going to tell you this. This statement started out as this: AI is tech on steroids. And as of last night, it is AI with ADHD on steroids and Adderall while they're drinking espresso.
That's pretty accurate. Things are moving so fast.
Right.
And things are developing so quickly. Talk a little bit more about the governance of it. Tell me your premise behind your EEE movement.
You'll read a lot, of course, all over the internet and with scholars and information. And the fact of the matter is, we as professionals in whatever industry we're talking about, our duties, our obligations, the oaths we took don't change. And in order to remember what our duties are and what we have to prove to boards, bar associations, court systems, to boards, we need to make sure that we are utilizing it in a way that it's governed so that you can defend it, meaning you have evidence, that you can show that you are meeting your duties as a professional, and above all, that you are taking care of those you serve. And that means your patients, your clients, anyone that is you're serving. And I say that with one caveat. My theory in this part of life is protecting those you serve, including yourself, because we forget about that. We forget that aspect of it. And with this journey into AI governance and with my hit past, I call it holistic AI governance, because not only do we need to govern the systems that we're in, we need to also govern ourselves and take care of ourselves.
Can we talk a little bit more about your past and what kind of led you to this? Tell me why you left the law profession and started going into AI governance.
May of 2023, and this is how I started my first webinar 5-6 months ago. May of 2023, I got up one morning and realized that I'm not in a good place, and actually said, I got to do something for myself. And everyone around me thought I was absolutely crazy. I left the bench. I left a defense firm with a full-on partnership and all of that, and to save myself. That's the governance that came in. And a lot of what I'm doing with my governance protocol is based on the same things I did in order to save myself. Because if you're thinking about Anthony Bourdain at the height of his career, and that you're realizing, I understand why he would want to just end it all.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
It's so sad.
It is. But that's because we're not allowed to talk about it. We're not allowed to share it. We're not allowed to say we are having those issues. So the authentic, augmented Nikki is going to tell you what you want to hear, which is we need to save ourselves. And I did just that. And 2 years ago, if you would have told me I would be doing AI governance, I would say, what the hell are you talking about? But at each AI conference that I went to and each certification I got, all I did was take notes about liability, malpractice, and the people we serve. It just notes page after page of all the issues that came up during litigation, as a judge, as a technology innovator. So I just said, we're architecting governance. And I literally jumped in, dived head in. And within 5 months, I was able to architect this protocol.
That's amazing. First of all, it's impressive that you left a probably lucrative position, something that you've done, and it has a lot of prestige, to focus on yourself. I think, first of all, that's amazing. And we need more of that. You know, we have to protect our mental health. We have to protect our spirit. Otherwise, it's just a horrible existence, right? So I'm proud of you for, following your heart and doing something that you love to protect yourself and save yourself. What was that transition like from being a judge and jumping into this? Did you have any sense of identity loss, or like, oh my gosh, I have to reinvent myself? What was that process for you? Because I know that's always scary going from
The premise started with these two concepts, and I'm going to keep saying it to everyone. We have to tell ourselves we matter, and we have to be kind to ourselves. Those were two things that I had never done for myself till I left, realizing I need to change. And people who work with me now versus working back then are like, wow, what a difference. And and it's the concept of, I believe everything I've done in my career until now has been making me ready, bringing me to this place in my life where AI governance is my movement, my passion, and I love going to work every day.
Doesn't make such a big difference. Like, when you love what you're doing, it doesn't feel as much as work. If you hate your job, you're like, oh my God, I have to do this again and again. It just is so painful to go to work sometimes. Anyone
who doubts the amazingness of LinkedIn, I'm going to give you some tidbits for consultants, business people. I have been able to meet experts from all over the world, from UAE, from Europe, I can tell you, like, we sit and talk like geeky nerds, and I'm a self-proclaimed geeky nerd, and we talk about governance. And it's that concept of, I literally got off the phone yesterday with someone who does governance for the UN. Okay, so it's not just some guy, he's somebody. And I got off and I told them, it feels nice to have a conversation with someone who understands you without you having to explain yourself. And right now, all I'm having to do is explain myself, because people don't understand that AI is tech with ADHD on steroids with Adderall while it's drinking espresso.
How do you tame that? Like, doesn't it feel like the genie's already out of the bottle? So how do you actually tame the crazy?
Governance is about doing right for what your duty. Governance isn't just a bureaucratic checklist. As a lawyer, as a doctor, as any professional, as an architect, you have people's lives in your hands. And as a result, because of that, you have to also make sure that not only are you taking care of yourself, but you're taking care of those you serve. There's this concept that is being talked about a lot right now called responsibility gap in AI, where the AI makes the mistake and they say, we don't know who to blame. Well, it's very clear. Responsibility gap is a falsehood, especially for professionals in regulated industries, because we have oaths that we have to meet, and having a shiny new toy in the room doesn't change what our standards and what our requirements are, not only for our within our offices, to our malpractice insurance companies, to the organizations we work for. That's the hardest part. In order for you to govern AI properly, it can't just be on the micro level. It has to be both on the macro level and the micro level, meaning it has to be organization-wide governance, and it has to be daily workflow governance, two different types of governance that you need to control.
So when a consulting firm is thinking about implementing AI, what do you recommend for them to do in their business?
The first thing they do is fill out an assessment form. And in that assessment form, I used to call it a consultation form, and it's no longer that. It's more of me figuring out what they're doing. And what I've come to realize is that the same thing I did for my immigration consultation forms all those years ago, I had like a 6-page immigration consultation form because I knew I wanted to hit all the issues with the person, and I needed to make sure they understood how to answer it based on my question as a layperson. So I've created that type of dumbed down assessment in that people don't even realize AI is already in their workflows. And then one of the first questions on the assessment is, are you already using AI? And I would say 70% of my assessments have said no. And then we go into hidden AI and shadow AI and all the other responsibilities. And then they go, what the heck are you talking about?
Nikki, tell me why hidden AI is important and what's the liability?
Hidden AI is probably one of the most important things that everyone needs to know about right now, because you may not go seek to use AI, but the AI is already embedded in technology that you're using on a daily basis. Whether it's your iPhone, your Gmail, your word processor, AI is there. And you need to make sure you safeguard yourself as a professional that if you ever rely on that AI to make a decision, the decision is yours. And as such, that human decision needs to be based on sound and confirmed facts. So in order to do that, you need to have a framework, a system. And the EEE protocol, right now you'll see a lot of people who have come out and said, this is how we should do something. My protocol is not about should, and you know me, it's about this is what you must do in order to have legal defensibility, in order to protect yourself, in order to protect your organization. And that's why the macro level of AI governance is so important.
Nikki, if a company wants to implement AI and they want to protect themselves from a liability standpoint, what is the best way to govern and start that process?
I don't mean to sound like a hashtag, but I'm going to say it. Govern before you automate. And what that means is that you need to plan, you need to map, you need to learn, you need to know what it is and what it does. You need to ask the vendor or the innovator a lot of questions about what knowledge they use. Talk to them about the bias issues. Talk about how you can protect the people you serve. To me, it's about making sure that you have a framework, a how-to. And I basically start from the minute you're starting to think about AI to be brought into your system to the day you retire it. So I need to make sure that you have a framework of what you should do for legal defensibility, for protecting the people you serve, and making sure you have an audit trail. And so, and the best part of it is I'm having a lot of fun making creative names up for the tests and things in order for it to make sense. For example, I've made the EAT test, EAT. You know what that is? Explainability, auditability, and traceability. Those are 3 things that every professional needs to know about before they bring AI into their world. And if you don't know those things, don't bring AI into your world. Govern before you automate.
I mean, that's got to be nerve-wracking for people because AI is going to be, I think everywhere in our lives. It is going to take over so many aspects of our lives. And we always talk at Keldor Dynamics, like you have to make sure that there is human interaction, human intelligence in that any workflow that you're working on, any AI tool that you're using. You have to have that human touch on there. No matter how amazing these AI tools become, having that human interaction and that human check on it is going to be so important moving forward.
That's why the AI HI movement was started. I wanted people just to, if you don't grasp anything else as part of the movement, I just want you to understand that we, as the humans, the HI, the human intelligence, has to stay in charge. And the only way we do that is for us to remember our duties and our humanity, because this is a dangerous, dangerous technology that can be brought in. And if we thought we had it bad with the dark web, imagine what it's going to be like with the dark AI.
That's scary.
Right?
I mean, totally separate topic, but have you ever seen that video 2027? It talks about the whole future of AI and the potential
The
growth.
Jetsons.
Yeah, and the craziness of it. Like it can get really scary if it's not controlled.
As kids, did we ever think that there would be self-driving cars and all the technology that we have? We have new toys coming into our lives every single day. We just have to figure out how to do it responsibly.
Yeah. One of the things that I think a lot of people are afraid of, and I think this is great. I saw on your website that you said, I'm not here to replace professionals. I'm here to protect them. And I think that's really important to talk about because it's not going to be replacing everybody, but you need to protect yourself if you're going to use it. So can you talk a little bit more about that?
I don't want people to think that governance is about stopping innovation, limiting innovation, or that's very important. I myself, the MedLegal professor, is AI created, AI augmented, AI operated. So I'm the AI plus HI champion. Everybody and anybody, even your neighbor down the street, they should agree and becoming an AI HI ally where we need to remind ourselves that the human needs to stay in charge. But I'm going to go full circle to your initial question, which I have not yet answered, which is if we lose trust in the system, if we lose trust between the doctor-patient care, if we lose trust between the attorney and the client, if that trust falls apart, then everything else falls apart. Our systems, our professional systems, there are duties of competence, of fiduciary duties. We have people's lives in our hands, and we need to remember that our decisions are life and death decisions, whether as a lawyer or a doctor. So we need to remember we as professionals serve people and that they need to trust us and trust us in this way. Did we notify them that we brought AI into our workflow? Did they consent that we're allowed to use AI in their case? What if a client wants to hire you but doesn't want for you to use AI? And even worse, what if an attorney doesn't want to use AI and the client saying, why aren't you using AI? There's so many different dynamics to this, and all of it is about educate, empower, and elevate. And that's what the EEE protocol is about.
I was just going to ask you, so you are creating a EEE protocol. Tell me a little bit more about what that entails and how people can implement it.
If something goes wrong with my plumbing, I know the water's leaking, but I don't know how to fix it. I don't know what's happened in the walls, right? Most people do not understand the risks, don't understand what AI brings to the table. And the first component of the protocol is the educating yourself with the risks, educating your staff with the risks, and everyone in the system knowing what to look for so that you're able to catch the issues. And that's very important. So the educate aspect is and this is a life cycle. Those of you who haven't heard of it, it's life cycle governance, meaning that you're governing the AI from the minute you think about bringing it into your life to the day you retire it. So you have
Wow, that's a
Yes. But again, and I say this again and over again, this is not the first time we've had to govern technology. Everything in our lives, when you're working at a hospital and you have to do certain requirements of checks on MRI machines or on ultrasound machines or whatever, this is another tool. You think it thinks, but it doesn't. It's just mathematical numbers. You need to remember that you're the one with the heart and soul and the judgment and the ability to make professional decisions, not the AI.
Yeah, absolutely. So Triple E stands for what?
Educate, empower, elevate. The educate part is knowing the risks. The elevate part is if you're bringing the tools in, the empower part, if you're bringing the tools into your life to empower your workforce, make sure it's checklists and governance and making sure everyone signs off on policies and just so you know, the protocol isn't about a checklist of, okay, we've done this. There's actual documents that you create as a governance folder through the process, so that 5 years from now you can come back and go, these are the AI tools we were using. There was 3 that were high risk. There were 2 that were low risk. And this is how we govern the low risk one. This is how we govern the high risk one. And here's the folder with the information from the vendor to the people who used it, to the people who actually the knowledge base. Anything and everything we do, it has to be documented and verified so that boards and courts and everyone else that we as professionals have to deal with, we can comply with their needs.
Yeah, that sounds like it's a major legal liability that you were addressing when you put all of that paperwork together and follow the Triple E protocol.
And that's the best thing you can say to me right now, because it's perfect. The EU AI Act is right now a standard throughout the world, because the EU is insisting, not only is it that you have to comply with it if you're in Europe, but if you're doing any business with Europe, you have to comply with the EU AI Act. So that was the standard that was set. But for the world right now, that's their most stringent standard. And for us professionals, I've created something that's above and beyond the EU AI Act, because I've incorporated ABA requirements, AMA requirements, HIPAA requirements, all the things that we as professionals have to do our jobs.
Yeah, that's impressive, first of all, that you put that all together. How are people perceiving this? I assume that as more and more companies start to adopt this is going to become a bigger and bigger issue.
So when I say it was an exciting week, we have platforms that are adopting, I can't say anything because it's an NDA, but you'll hear about it soon. There are platforms that are adopting the Triple E protocol along with the EU AI Act and all the other ISOs. And we're starting to launch platforms based on the Triple E protocol.
That's huge. Congrats.
And I have to say this because I promised myself that I'm going to make sure that I haven't done it for a while, and I want to make sure. My dad was at the height of his career, 1980, as a civil engineer building bridges and infrastructure in Iran. And the day that they announced that the girls have to return back to school in the fall with hijab, full garb, my dad gave up everything to move his family out of Iran, so that his girls could be educated and not have to be under hijab. And at that point, I never realized what a sacrifice that was. And I mean, when I say he was the top of his field, chauffeur driven to work kind of thing, and living in the lap of luxury in Iran, and giving all of that up to make sure you take care of your kids and your family. I didn't understand it until after he passed. And that's why this whole project is called Mohandes. And that's because that means engineer in Farsi. And I've dedicated all of the work and what he taught me, how to build infrastructure, how to work on a foundation before you move forward. His blood is in me, and it's coming through in this work.
It's a pretty remarkable story. Like, I can't imagine leaving the country I know, leaving the comforts that I know, to a different country where you don't have any status, or you're not prestigious, where you're starting from scratch. Like, that is a remarkable story. I love that you incorporated that into your philosophy. You have the foundation the solid engineering foundation in the protocol and you base it off that. I think that's really sweet.
Most of my blog posts, my dad is involved somehow. So it's fun to integrate that into the blogs I've been writing. So
yeah, I took one of your webinars last week and it was really great. And you're doing a lot of webinars talking about governance. If
podcasts
somebody
and
wants
webinars.
podcasts and webinars, I mean, that's a great way. It's the way to do it in 2025, right? What if somebody wants to work with you? What's the best way to do it? How do they start with you?
It's as easy as going to governbeforeyouautomate.ai and you just simply either email me or fill out a consultation or an assessment form, or you go on my calendar and just pick a time and date and say, I want to pick your brain about something. Right now, we are in the foundation work of this AI governance. And as someone who believes in doing good for others in regards to AI, I'm wanting to be a resource for people to at least brainstorm with.
Yeah, because that's so important, especially, startups, they're not sure where to go. And I'm positive all of the startups that are happening in the last year, there's major AI in all of them because it enables you to double your workforce without actually having to pay double your workforce. So it really enables a lot of entrepreneurs and small and medium businesses to expand their capacity without having to expand their pocketbook. So I assume that a lot of them are going to have questions about governance. They're going to have questions about structures. So having somebody to talk to like you would be really, really critical from a governance standpoint. I think it's really kind of you to open up your mind and your schedule to people that want to talk and have brainstorming sessions with you, because I think that is going to be invaluable to people moving forward.
And this is something I want to tell all entrepreneurs. I left Beverly Hills in the lap of luxury, making great money. And I've been living off of cup of noodles and cereal for the past year. But I'm happier now than I've ever been because I truly am stopping to take care of me and stopping to do and doing what I truly love, which is when I sit and map a workflow for like 20 hours and my team is going, what the hell did you do? And I go, well, we have to map this in order to track this, and this. That kind of awe that I get from my team when I bring something to them, that's just an awesome feeling because it shows that it's moving forward.
That's an amazing feeling to have that because so many people are miserable at work. So having that passion really shows through in your work and your webinars and all of your content on LinkedIn. I just find it really impressive. Go follow her on LinkedIn. It's amazing too. You have a lot of presence on LinkedIn too.
I said, someone said I need to become the ambassador for LinkedIn. I said I should. Another thing for entrepreneurs, everything I've done has been on my name, has been on my experience. The only money I've put out in this project is for the AI tools. Everything else, none of it has been paid advertising. LinkedIn has been just the way LinkedIn is. When people understand an issue on LinkedIn, those who understand, boy, they're good at that and they're able to really pick it apart and for you to move it forward. So but remember, and I'm going to say this because it took a lot out of me to bring it to say, am I really going to go to the world and say I've created this architecture for governance? And it was a lot. It was so many times before I pressed send, because I'm coming up with something that hasn't been tested, I'm just bringing out the issues and saying, how are you going to do that 5 years from now when you're now having to do this now? So it's all going to be what people bring to me, the issues, the problems, the geeky nerdiness. And I'm looking forward to the geeky nerdiness.
Well, having a legal perspective on this really must be enlightening because you can protect them from a legal standpoint because you've been there, you've done it, you've seen it on both sides, I'm sure, as a litigator and on as a judge too. So that is really interesting to me.
So I've been blessed in a lot of ways. One, knowing how to write a judicial decision is very helpful. in being able to do a protocol.
Of course.
2, being the first and only dual certified legal specialist in immigration law and workers' compensation law in California, which is they're the 2 most regulated areas of law with changing laws. As I said to you, there was a reason I'm doing this. There's my entire journey. My entire journey has brought me to this place, and I want people to come into this world and realize we can do this responsibly.
That is a great way to end the podcast. Thank you so much for your time and your expertise and your guidance. If somebody wants to get a hold of you, what's the best way to get a hold of you?
LinkedIn, Nikki Mehrpoo at LinkedIn, or even better, let me tell you how to get in. That's a good one. This is the first time I'm using it. I've trademarked I govern AI.
That's perfect.
My hashtag is I governed AI, and our entire ecosystem is being changed because we are going to be using I govern AI as our entire branding. So it's coming out.
Perfect. Well, you heard it here first.
It is. You're getting the scoop.
Awesome. Well, Nikki, thank you so much for your time. And if you need any help with governance, talk to Nikki.
And if you guys want to really do consulting and entrepreneurship, get in touch with this guy.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.